All right, today we're going to do something really cool. We're going to take a bunch of raw numbers from the General Social Survey and turn them into a real, actual discovery. And we're going to do it using just a few key tools in PSPP. Let's dive in.
So you've got the data, right? And you've got this question that you are just dying to answer. But then you look at that spreadsheet and it's just numbers. It can feel a little overwhelming. How do you actually connect those numbers to a real answer? Well, that's exactly what we're going to walk through right now.
So here's our game plan. It's a pretty straightforward 4-step journey. First, we got to wrangle our data to get it ready. Then, we'll zoom out and get the big picture of who we're even talking about. After that, we'll zoom in and compare the groups we're interested in. And finally, we'll see how a few clicks can lead to a solid conclusion.
Okay, first things first, we have to prepare our data. I mean, you can't build a strong house on a shaky foundation, right? It's the same thing here. You can't get good insights from messy data. So, we're going to use a fantastic tool called Recode to get everything lined up perfectly.
So you're probably asking, what in the world is recoding? Well, think of it as just reorganizing your data to make it way more useful for your question. You might take a whole bunch of different ages and group them into categories like young, middle-aged, and senior. It's all about cleaning things up so your analysis is simpler and makes more sense.
Now, before you click a single button in the software, you need a plan. Seriously, just sketching out a little recoding tree like this one is a total game changer. Here, we're taking the age variable, which has, tons of individual ages, and we're collapsing it into a brand new variable, age 3, with just 3 nice clean groups. A little planning up front makes the whole process so much smoother.
And the best part? Actually doing this in PSPP is just a few simple clicks. You're just going to head up to the Transform menu, choose Recode into different variables, and then you literally just tell it what the old values are and what the new values should be. Click Change, and you're golden. It's really that easy.
Okay, I need you to listen up because this is super important. You will see an option called Recode into Same Variable. Do not, under any circumstances, click this button. It will permanently change your original data, and there is no undo button. It's gone forever. So please always recode into a different variable. Keep that original data safe.
All right, want to know a little secret that'll make you look like a total pro? At that very last step, instead of clicking OK, click Paste. What this does is it creates a little script of your commands. We call it syntax. It's a perfect record of everything you did, and it means you can run that same exact analysis again later with just one click. It's all about making your work repeatable.
Okay, our data is all cleaned up and ready to go. So, now what? Well, it's time for step 2, getting the big picture. Before we can answer our big question, we have to understand who are the people in our survey. And for that, we're going to use a simple but really powerful tool called frequencies.
Think of these as the absolute basics of describing your data. Frequencies, that's just the raw count. How many people are married, how many are single, and so on. Percents take those raw numbers and put them in context, telling you what slice of the pie each group represents. So simple, but so powerful.
And boom! Just like that, running a simple frequency analysis gives us this amazing snapshot. Right away, looking at marital status from the 2022 GSS, we get a clear picture. Just over half of U.S. adults are married, and almost 30% have never been married. This is the kind of basic understanding we need before we can ask anything more complicated. Now, this leads to a really crucial point in survey analysis, weights. Here's the simple rule to remember. If you want to know the actual number of people who took your survey, the true sample size, turn the weights off. But if you want your percentages to represent the entire U.S. population, not just the people you talk to, you have to turn the weights on. This is the key to making your results meaningful for everyone. And here's another cool little pro tip for you. That frequencies command, it's not just for categories like marital status. You can run it on a number variable like age, and it will instantly tell you the median, that's the person right in the middle, and the mode, which is the most common age. It's a surprisingly handy little tool.
All right, this is it. We've prepped the data, we understand our sample. Now it's time for the main event, actually comparing groups to answer our research question. This is where the magic really happens, and our secret weapon for this is the split function.
So, let's get laser focused on our question for this explainer. We're digging into the 2022 General Social Survey, and we want to know, does a person's sex have any connection to how they view the Bible? To figure that out, we obviously need to compare the answers from two groups, men and women.
And turning this function on is, you guessed it, super easy. You just go to the Data menu, then click Split File. Tell it you want to organize output by groups, and then you just pop your grouping variable, in this case, sex, into the box. You click OK, and you'll even see a little message at the bottom of the screen telling you that the split file is on.
So as soon as you turn Split on and run your analysis, PSPP starts working its magic. The first thing you'll see is a table for System Missing. That's just the folks who didn't happen to answer the question about their sex.
Then, the very next table you see. That shows the results, but only for the men in the survey. We're looking at just their views on the Bible.
And right after that, you get the table for the women. And just like that, everything's laid out perfectly, side by side, totally ready for us to compare and see if there are any differences.
And here it is, the answer to our question in a nice, clear chart. The data shows that 33.1% of women believe the Bible is the literal word of God. But for men, it's only 25.6%. That's a pretty interesting difference. And by using that split function, we found our answer with hard data.
Okay, one last, and I mean critical, piece of advice. When you are done comparing groups, please don't forget to turn Split off. Just go right back to that menu and select Analyze All Cases. Now, forgetting to do this isn't the worst thing in the world, but trust me, it will make your next analysis very, very confusing.
So let's just take a step back and look at what we did. With just a few simple steps, recode, frequencies, and split, we started with a messy data set and a question, and we ended up with the clear, data-driven insight. This is a workflow that you can now take and use on any question you have.
Look at that. You've gone all the way from raw data to a real discovery. You just used a powerful, reliable method to answer one question. So really, the only thing left to think about is, what are you going to ask next?